Hello, I'm Kerry Mercell and welcome to the free breakthrough training on how to create a webinar that sells in 21 days or less. And I'm delighted that you're here. We're going to cover a heap of stuff today, and some of the things we're going to cover is how to do free webinars and learning the no-tech, low-cost webinar system that you can use to increase your business sales absolutely tenfold. Why your website isn't performing and what you do to generate more money in 1 hour than you are making in 1 month. And how to ethically steal your competition's profits and become an industry expert that your peers look up to. So let's get started. Now, probably a good idea, go and grab a coffee or a drink, a cold drink, and turn your phone off so that you're not interrupted during this presentation. You see, my goal is to collaborate with as many small business owners as I possibly can. And you know what? We can get your business from going from one to one to one to many and actually make a massive change in your life and your lifestyle simply by using webinars. Anyway, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a gift. And that gift will be the ultimate webinar resource guide. And it's everything that you will need to create a webinar on your own. The only thing is you must stay to the end of the presentation and you'll be emailed this after the webinar. Now, we're going to show you the step-by-step nuts and bolts behind creating your own webinar, and including all the tools that are required to make your first webinar an absolutely outstanding success. And I just need to tell you a little bit about myself. I won't stay too long on the topic of me, but I've owned and operated successful award-winning businesses for over 25 years. And now my current business is valued in excess of 7 figures, and I've sold products and services online and generated tens and hundreds and thousands in sales simply by using the web to sell my products and services. And when I was with Kira Dive Centre, I was selling, when the internet first came to Australia, well before most businesses had even heard about the internet, and we were taking dive bookings from all over the world simply because we had our website online. But it's not as easy as that now, because the web is a sea of websites and you need to do something different to get people to start coming to your website or your webinar, or it doesn't matter, whatever you're doing online, you need to attract people, and we're going to cover some of that during this presentation as well. Now, I've done a lot of things right, and this is one of the more fun things that I've done right. I was in the 2005 Bog Snorkeling Championships. I was Australia's best hope, but that's not really relevant to what we're talking about, but I really have done a lot of things right. And I've had a lot of media coverage over the years. I've worked for celebrities. I've been in magazines, on TV, and I've written several books and several articles as well. So you may see me around the internet, but man, have I done some things wrong. Now, I have tried trading many times and to make income, and not very successfully. Actually, I've never made money. All I've ever done is lost. I spent a packet with a company on digital marketing, and only to find out that they were a scam company, and I'm still battling to get some of my money back. And investing in property, I've been a property developer and renovator for the last 12 years. Not all that's gone great. And my health, it took a downturn a few years back, and I'm just sort of trying to get back on track. And the best way I can do that is to help other people with their businesses, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So after doing business for over 25 years, I discovered that there's a hidden business inside every small business. Small business doesn't have to mortgage the house to sell their products and services. A major issue that could be preventing you from having the life of your dreams could you fill in the blank? And this is around business. And I know you've heard this 1,000 times before, and here's the answer: a database. The money truly is in the database, because if you have a database, you can promote to your clients over and over again. And move over networking, collaborating is the word of the year, and I am 100% on collaboration. I believe a new way of doing business is working with other businesses so that you all get to where you want to go, and that's how I run my business. And I'll show you how I collaborate with businesses towards the end of the presentation. Now, I discovered that creating a webinar is incredibly expensive and hard. And remember, I spoke about that company that was a scam company. Well, I ended up doing a webinar, several webinars with them many years ago. And what their job was to get people to the webinar. But they also had the job of setting up all the infrastructure, which they didn't do, and I ended up doing most of it. So I thought, man, this is incredibly hard. But you know what? If it's hard for me, and I used to have an IT business way back when, it must be really hard for small business to do it. So as I was going through it, I thought, let me tell everybody all the nuts and bolts that goes behind the webinar, so that you can make an educated guess and say, right, I think I can do this, and go out and actually do it. So I've listed, this is a list of things that are definitely required. You need firstly to package your product so that you've got a saleable commodity. And why I say package your product: if you run a webinar and you're selling $20 products, it's going to be very difficult. Well, it's not going to be difficult, it's just you're going to have to get huge numbers to make the webinar worthwhile. You can sell a $20 product that leads into a $100 product, or a $500, and up it goes. However, you need to have a product package that's a bit different, that's value that people can't get just anywhere. If you were selling toilet rolls, why would they buy a toilet roll from you when they can go down to the supermarket and get one? Okay, you need to be able to have compelling sales copy for the webinar funnel. I'm going to run through this really quickly because there's a lot here. Suitable graphics, technical know-how. You need a webinar funnel so people can actually register for the webinar. Within that funnel, you can build upsells and downsells, so you can actually create some revenue by actually offering them something as they come through the process. Collecting the names and emails of the people registering for the webinar. Yes, they are your target audience. They're registering for a webinar about a specific topic because that's the topic they want to know about, or that's the product or service that they want to buy. They're getting more information around that. So that's exactly your target market. Build your database and then resell into that database. And you can do that by using follow-up autoresponders. You need to send out reminders before the webinar, reminders after the webinar, and maybe offer them another product or service that's similar, at a cheaper price, or, you know, there's a whole bunch of strategies that we could put around this, but it just depends on your product or service once again. Have a tried and tested $1 million template to sell from. And it's not just about speaking from stage. If you are speaking from stage and you are talking about a heartfelt story, you may be a brilliant presenter. However, there is a technique and a definite method of how to sell from stage, and webinars are selling from stage through the internet. Hosting a webinar on a fast platform. If your internet speed isn't fast enough, you're going to need a great system that is going to host that webinar. You cannot have the webinar fall over halfway through because you'll lose your clients. Be a knowledgeable MC and webinar producer. You need to know how to run one. Video editing software if you're going to use videos to do anything within your webinar, and especially if you want to do automatic webinars or evergreen webinars where they're replayed on the hour or every second day or however you want to play them. You need a payment gateway. You need pre-written emails, before and after webinar emails, software to replay the webinar while you sleep so that you can continue to make sales. Wow. That was a mouthful. So if you want an easy way that doesn't require you sitting at your computer for weeks, picking up the phone or asking for sales, webinars might just be for you. So here's some different examples of how people have spent not a lot of money on running a webinar and made absolutely massive amounts of money from the webinars. And you know, truly, it's such a, you know, if you went to run a seminar, it would cost you easily $10,000 to run a seminar. A webinar is not going to cost you anything like that, especially if you do work with me, or if you don't want to work with me, you can run your own webinar. I think the software that I have purchased comes to around $4,000 a year. So, you know, if you do it yourself, you certainly can, but I know how much work goes into it, and it truly is a massive amount. Disclaimer, I can't, you know, these are just examples of people that have made money at webinars. It's not something that I can guarantee. However, we work with only the best and motivated business people, and if you're committed and I'm committed, it's, you know, even if we don't hit a home run on the very first webinar, we'll just tweak it until we make it work. And that's the beauty of working with somebody who's a professional, is that they know what to do to tweak it and make it work. Anyway, here we go. 3 secrets we're going to learn today, and we're going to learn the no-tech, low-cost webinar system that you can use to increase your business sales tenfold, why your website isn't performing, and what to do to generate more money in 1 hour than you're making in a month. Now, your website might be performing, but we'll talk about that later anyway. And how to ethically steal your competition's profits and become the industry expert your peers look up to. And I guess that's why you're here. So let's get started. What we're going to talk about is the low-tech, no-cost way of building a webinar. And as you can see, Mr. Branson makes $17,947 per day. It's probably more than that, but this is purely from a automatic webinar that he just keeps replaying and replaying and replaying. So I'll give you an example of a pre-webinar script that I made for one of my clients, and this is how I work. All I do is send you documents, you fill in the blanks, and I put everything together. And so it gives you an example of what it looks like. Here's another example of a post-webinar script. So this is a pre-email and a post-email for the webinar. You know, you need to get people enrolled, especially if it's going to be a live webinar, and get them to, you know, do your very best to get them to turn up. Not everybody turns up to a webinar, and we'll run through some figures later. So here's a done-for-you short example of an email template, and I'll create a template around you and your business. If you've got logos that you want me to use, I will put those up for you as well. And so we'll have a really professional-looking system operating that we can add to as we go through. And here's a done-for-you short example of how I do actually work with you. So just have a quick look. you know, I've decided, you know, these are just numbered slides. I've got numbered slides in this presentation that I'm actually doing. I do it in PowerPoint. And so I give you a Word document where I say, okay, just fill in the blanks. Here's the question. And here's a question for you. I have discovered the hard way, right? So you need to fill this blank in, right? So I've discovered the hard way, the process most people do. 1, fill the blank in. 2, fill the blank in. 3, fill the blank in. So it's really easy. It's just fill in the blanks for you, and the rest is a huge amount of work for me, because you end up with a PowerPoint presentation that looks similar to the one that you're actually looking at now. And then what we do is we try and do a break-even funnel for you. And what that actually means is we actually try and put a product in the registration as we go through the registration, so that you can make and it's a low-ticket product. So once you get through the end of your registration, you're offered to purchase something that is relevant to the process here. I didn't actually ask. Actually, I did. I asked for whether you wanted a free book, and to pay for the postage for the free book. That's what I asked, because that's part of the affiliate program that I'm in. And that free book, if anybody did purchase it and you do go ahead and use the software that is suggested for the webinars here, the free book will turn itself into around about $160 affiliate commission for me if you go through the process. If you don't, well, I think I get about $20 or something like that from the purchase of that book. So here are 3 examples of how people are making money with webinars. And this is the .com Secrets book that I was talking about. And he's done a webinar, and he just has it on the screen, and he just auto replays it. And it just explains about all .com secrets. And let's have a look at the breakup. I've got 3 of these that I can show you. Last month's stats, he had 5 leads. The book sales, he actually sold from those leads. He sold just under half. The average cost was $30. The average spend, $45,000, and the sales was $52,000. So he profited from that. But as I just explained, he profited from this because they've bought his book. His book brings them back into his system again, which is his point of business, and he creates a lot of money from the sales of that book. So let's have a look. Here's another book that's being sold online, and it's under $10 to buy any of these books, because he pays for the book, but he just charges for the postage. So this one's a little bit better. He's only spent $4,000 on ads. His sales are $18,000, so he's made a lot more profit, but that's only the front end profit. It's not the back end profit. And you can do something similar to this too, just by when they register, offering a small ticket item on their way through to register for the webinar. Now, here's another one. He does an MP3 with all sorts of tips and hints and podcasts and that on his MP3. And his profit for a $9,000 spend was $3,000. So it's a very valuable thing to do. If you're thinking of running webinars by yourself, actually ask for a sale, ask for a small sale up front. And not everybody's going to buy your small sale, but if it's a great offer, you're going to get a lot of purchases, which is going to help with the running of any ad campaign that you're considering doing. So that's why I say here, there's more money under the surface. If you can just enroll them in registering, you've got a database that you can resell to them. Maybe some of the people who register, they actually buy that small product that you've got for sale there. And then as you're going through the webinar, even if they have the small product, you're still going to follow up with them by sending them post emails after the webinar or after the sales of the product, or you might send them a bonus product with the product that you actually send them. So there's more money under the surface than there is on top. So even though you may only be achieving a small return on investment from the process, you may find that the back end is going to be incredibly valuable. Lots more under the surface. So, secret number 2, why your website may not be performing and what to do to generate more money in an hour. Now, my question I run a small business group for women in Southeast Queensland once a month, and my question to anybody who comes to me and said, oh, I'm thinking of setting up a website, is why are you doing that? Now, one of my associates, she does essential oils, and Australian Essential Oils is her company, and she's got a very elaborate website up. The only reason she's got the website up is because all the oils have different properties, and she needed something up there so people could actually go and type in an oil and find out exactly what property that oil does, what it does for you, and how you can use it. That is a fantastic use of a website because, you know, I don't know about you, but my knowledge about essential oils is very limited, and I will ask her personally, but I can also go and browse her website and find that she's got different products and packages and all sorts of information that's going to help me make an informed decision. So that is a perfect use of a website, but most people don't use their website like that. They put their website up and expect people to come and buy products and services from them, and they haven't even asked for the order on the website. They haven't encouraged them to give them any details so that they can purchase from them. That they're missing so many components. Most people's website in small business is a static brochure, and a static brochure is great. You can go in, you can read it once, but you'll probably never ever come back. So that's why you need to create your database. The database is a link to get people to come back. And let's talk a little bit about Facebook here. Facebook, you don't own Facebook. So if Facebook are now making more changes again, and I believe they're going to be charging businesses for their pages. So don't quote me on that. That's I just heard that the other day, and they're sort of moving towards that way anyway. And so, do you really want to be paying Facebook to have their Facebook pages, or would you be better off by having your own independent website that you own yourself, and you can create your own sales funnel? So asking for the sale is probably one of the things that most small business don't do, or if they do it poorly. Websites should be up there giving you information about the product and service, but most importantly, how they can work with you if you're in a service-based industry, or how they can purchase your product at maybe a better price than what they can get it anywhere else. And so, you know, if you're thinking, yes, I'm in a service industry, how's that going to work for me? Maybe, just maybe, a website is not the best thing for you to have, because in the service industries, especially in the self-help industry, people need to meet you. They want to talk to you or touch you or know something about you before they're going to sit down and tell you all their, you know, personal history. So food for thought there. So let's, secret number 3 is to how to ethically steal your competitors' profits and become an industry expert that your peers look up to. And I've got a little chart here, and this is tracking your numbers, and it's really important that we track the numbers if you're doing a webinar with me or if you're doing a webinar on your own. And so I've got a spreadsheet here, And, you know, you can do the math yourself on this. What's the lifetime value of a client? Well, I've just done a generic one here, but I've put like $5,000. It just depends on your product or service, of course. How much is it going to cost for you to get somebody to turn up at the website, to the webinar? And that's, I've said, okay, it's going to cost me $5 to get somebody to attend that webinar. But how is that worked out? Well, it actually, with webinars, if you get 100 people at the webinar, only about 30 people will turn up. There'll be 100 people register, 30 people turn up, and out of those 30 people, we can get between 3, 6, 12, 50%. It just depends on what you're offering at the end of the webinar to actually do something at the end. So here we've got here, I've gone, okay, well, it's $5 to get an attendee, but it's other cost, it's actually $10 because I'm estimating only a third of the people will turn up. So that's $15. Now, if we get 100 people at the webinar, and that's, you know, sort of a minimum number that we'd be looking at getting, because if you get too few numbers, you've got too few people to sell to. But that doesn't mean the auto webinars won't sell product or service, because they're the same webinar. The response rate, I've just worked at 6%, which is quite a low percent. Once again, it depends on your product or service. The projection in dollars, so that's the long-term projection. This is for per year, and the total costs are this, and the profit projection for the webinar is this. And that's, you know, that's sort of it in a nutshell. And that's on a 6% of people actually saying yes, they want to purchase the products out of 100. So it just depends on your product or service. So how many webinars do I want to run? Well, I only want to run 2 a month. And so I've got 2, and this is my profit for the year. Okay, now I can run if you want to come on board with me, I can run some numbers with you to make sure that it's going to work for you. But it's just a matter of actually getting in there and doing it, whether you do it yourself or with me. It's up to you. So collaboration is big. I'm working with Red Tent Australia, which are a national women's organisation, and helping others is such a wonderful way to go. I run the women's group through Red Tent, but it's not exclusive to Red Tent. Anybody can actually come to them. And Red Tent helped me spread the word about what I'm doing. So if you think that you might be interested in joining some organisation, you'll find that if you all sponsor an organisation is a wonderful way to get the word out around your business. Now, stealing a market share from your competitors is simple. It's just be extraordinary in what you do. Webinars are hard. Just think, webinars are hard. Who's doing webinars in your industry? And I bet you the answer is not too many people. So if that is the answer, why don't you step above the crowd and start doing webinars? When you're out at your network meetings and you start telling people, oh, I'm doing a webinar, and that will really twig people's interest. It is such a wonderful sales platform, because you can get all the information that you want set out. They can look at the webinar. If they're not interested, they can go away, and you've got nobody who's rolling eyes or trying to get away from you at a function because you're boring them to death. It's their choice. They sit and watch the webinar or they don't. And once your webinar is recorded and on autopilot, you can make your money even before you open your doors. Like, how cool is it to wake up in the morning and find that you've got orders sitting there and you haven't even started work? Like, it is really cool. So, you know, business is tough. There's statistics go over 5 years, 85% of businesses fail. And I just had a look at some of the stats from the Australian government. They've got their budget here, and you can see here that we've got the household income is, disposable income and consumption. Have a look, net saving. Australia, we're doing it tough. And in small business, it's really tough because government take registrations and all this money from us, and they've got us collecting tax, and it's just really hard. See this. This is the budget for 2016-2017, and if you just notice down the list, can you see small business anywhere? There isn't. There's no small business there at all. And they even projected into that. Well, small business isn't being helped, so we need to help ourselves. And we can easily do that by collaborating. So you have a look here, everything's going up. I know the small business wages aren't going up, and, pay increases, all that. It's just not moving. So what has to happen is we have to save ourselves. We have to do something different, and this is something different. And even our housing market, the long term, I follow Michael Matusik in the housing. If anybody's interested, Matusik has been incredibly good for and incredibly accurate for many, many years that I've followed him. And Matusik, he gave a lovely report here. You can go and join his database and for free, and he'll send you out a quick little report once a week about the housing all over Australia, what it's doing, and you find some very interesting facts from Michael. So really, if you're not going to invest in property, or you have invested in property, you really want to get your small business up and going so that you can support your family. And of course, everybody wants all the cool toys, and I'm not going to go on about having all the cool toys, but if you have a machine that's working for you 24/7, and you don't have, all you have to do is fulfill the orders and make it happen from the back end, hey, all what you ever wanted or dreamed of is certainly achievable. Anyway, in the past hour, could you agree that it's been time well spent? And you know what? I can't cover everything that you need in an hourly webinar. Well, I couldn't cover everything that you needed in a day if I was going to explain how to do a webinar and all the software that you need to make that work. But I'd like to offer you a special offer so that you can get everything that you need to know. And if you act fast, I'm going to give you a very special deal. And you know what? Old habits do die hard, and it's going to be the action takers that will work with me. And the reason that is that I only want 12 clients this year, and I already have 3. And the reason I want 12 clients is I want to give them personalised service. I want to make sure that their webinars is the best that it possibly can be. And even though this system's been tried and tested, and I've tested it many times, I want to make sure that all the bugs are ironed out. And I'm not even, the next step for a business like mine is to scale it. And I don't even know if I want to scale it at this point in time. I love working in the health and wellness industries. However, I will look at any business, but I do specialise in health and wellness industry because that's the areas that I work in. But hey, let's have a look at some webinar stats, right? Now, you can see here that this is the register attendee conversion. Now, I use 30% in my example before. Normally, it's around 40%. And here's some stats as to when do they register. And mainly they register during the week. So you can see that, it's not more than, and this is when they actually register, the time frame, how long. So usually we have about a 2-week lead time. If we do a month out, people forget, you know, and they don't put it in their calendar. So what I do is, when I work with people, the challenge really is to get people to attend the webinar. If I do everything around the webinar, the only thing left to do is to get the bums on seats. So what I ask of business is one of 3 things. Do you have an existing database? If you do, we can send to that, and just be aware that we're looking at our 30% for our attendee conversion. This is saying 42, but really you've just got to suck it and see. So if you've got a database, I will, you know, you can apply, and I can consider whether this is going to work for you, the webinar system that I offer. If you don't have a database, there's 2 other ways that you can go. One is a paid advertising, and for around $2,000, we should be able to get between 100 and 500 people register for the webinar. So you need to have a budget for your advertising. Or the third way, which is what I mentioned earlier on, it's collaboration. And collaboration with another business that's similar to yours. So I'll use the example of my business oil lady. She's using essential oils, and that's what she's selling. However, her distributor might have another product that they're selling, and she could go to the distributor, another product that they're selling, or even they're selling the same product. She can go to that distributor and ask them to email their database saying that this lady's products are excellent, and would they like to go to the webinar to see about them. Or you know, there's lots of different companies that we all deal with on a daily basis, and those companies have databases. So it's a matter of you asking the question, would they collaborate with you, and what would they like in return for sending the information out. With the oil lady, she will actually sell their oils, so that's going to be their reward for sending out to their database the oils. All right, so some more around the webinar registration, and the best days for promo emails, if you're sending them out, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And you can have a best days for attendance, have a look again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so the best time, so if you say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, have a look at the times of the day. 11. What surprises me is I would have thought maybe in the morning, you know, 9, 8, 9 in the morning might be good, but it doesn't appear. So we're looking 10 and 11 is a great time to do webinars, and you know, 9, 10, 11, that's sort of the window. So I guess people in business like me, but after 6 o'clock I don't pick the phone up, and I guess that might be you as well. You've done business all day and you don't want to be doing it all night as well. So what do you need to create a webinar with us? And this is the package, and it's, as you can see, it's what you do and what I do are 2 completely different things. I mentioned before, I showed you that basically you fill the blanks in, provide us the information, organise the how you're going to get bums on seats, and if you are doing paid advertising, I can certainly help you. I've got people I can refer you to, and you've got to turn up for phone appointments, practice run, and for the webinar, of course. And then this is what I do. And once again, if you're looking at doing a webinar yourself, these are the things that you'll need to do. So your product package, your sales copy, your converting template for the webinar, suitable graphics, technical know-how of how to design a funnel, upsells, downsells, collect the names and emails of people, set up a follow-up responder, send out a reminder, and post and purchase sequence for the webinar. Host the webinar on a fast platform. be a knowledgeable MC and fast problem solver, because webinars being technical, things do happen and you need to know what to do when, when your webinar drops out or when your sequence isn't working. A video editing software, a way to edit the webinar and take out any glitches, create a payment gateway, pre-written follow-up emails, replay the webinar while you sleep, so there's your evergreen webinar, and someone to hold your hand to make sure you're totally on track. And that's what I'm offering. And who is this work for? Well, mainly coaches, consultants, speakers and authors, business who have got big ticket products or services. So, and even if you haven't, I love having a product under $1,000. It makes it affordable for everybody. But especially if you've got a big ticket product, you're really limited to where you're actually going to sell it. How many people will just throw money over to you, $5,000 over a PayPal account or something like that to get your product and service? They really have to touch and feel you, and that's why I like working with coaches, consultants, speakers and authors, because they're people who need people to touch and feel them as well, because their service it's normally a service-based industry that they're in, and they need people to see who they really are. And remote businesses who want to compete with the big boys and girls. So if you're sitting at the back of Broken Hill somewhere, this might just help you get to where you want to go. All right, so I only want 12 clients, which is what I said, I said prior, but the entry price I'm about to offer you is very discounted. And after the 12 clients, if I'm taking more clients on next year, it's going to increase, and it will increase because I'll have a scalable system and I'll be outsourcing, some of the things that I can outsource. So here's some testimonies. Here's some of the ladies that attend my beautiful women's lunch meeting through Red 10, and we have great fun. It's the third Tuesday of every month at Springwood. So contact me if you're interested in turning up. And what is next? Okay, this is the package. If you're interested and you're going to apply to work with me, a purpose-built webinar, technical setup and hosting for 12 months, redesign of your webinar, creation and build of the webinar autoresponder, okay, and total value of all that is $8,790, and then I'm going to give you a bonus. One-on-one rehearsal session prior to the event, plus initial group support calls to give you clarity. Now, I don't think there'll be group support calls. I think they'll be one-on-one, but it just depends on how many people apply. I don't want to say, as I said, I've already got 3 clients, so I don't want to say the same thing 9 times, but if the clients are just going to come in slowly, which is what's happening, and I haven't actually advertised yet because this offer is so valuable to business, and I don't even know if I'll advertise because I'm still working with the clients I've already got. So let's just see. I am on the phone for you, and we can make appointments and make it work. 12 months access to the webinar membership site, plus proven webinar making money PowerPoint template. Now this is selling from webinar and it works. Okay, so this is what the package looks like. The webinar, the technical setup, the redesign, the creation and build of the webinar and the autoresponder, one-on-one rehearsal session, the sales webinar PowerPoint, which is $9,480. And if this was all we did, right, would it be worth it? Is it such a massive amount of work, and unless you did that, you're not going to know really how much work it actually is. So what's a webinar on autopilot making you money while you sleep worth to you? Right? How much would you pay to get all of what I've just said? Okay, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25. How much would you pay? Well, you can see why others are paying me to do the hard yards. You know, you have to focus on running your business, not learning IT. You know, and I'm really committed to helping small business get to where they want to go. And I want to make this accessible to small business, and I want to work with collaboration. So I'll personally create your product package with you one-on-one so we can make your webinar a conversion monster. So basically that means we'll just get on the phone together and we'll just talk about what you've got, how you'd like it to be packaged, what you'd like it to look like. Now, in order to make this more accessible for small business, I'm looking to work with only 12 and truly this is high-performing, motivated business owners. I don't really want to take your money if you're not going to see this through. You have to be a motivated business owner. You have to want to go to the next level. So here's the deal. What I'm offering here is a joint venture partnership. So how does a joint venture partnership work? Basically, we share the net profits 50-50. So whatever your costs are to produce your product or service, we take the costs out and we split the rest 50-50. I ask for a small amount of money in webinar setup costs. You win, I win, we both win together. So here's the breakdown. Everything that I've spoken about, $995 is the setup cost plus a 50-50 joint venture from the net profit. Now, that's it. $995. Just one piece of software costs far in excess of that, and you'll have to do everything else yourself. So it's a massive amount of work. But if you had two choices, your first option would be do nothing and not take this leap of faith, which is 100% risk-free. Or the second option is frock up with a small investment today, and compared to all the value you'll get in return, just give it a shot. If it works, great. If not, ask for your money back in 30 days and you'll get it back. All right? So here's my 30-day guarantee. Sign up today. If you don't like our webinar package for any reason, just let me know and we'll give you your money back. And that's true. And the other option is try the 90-day Think About It program. You have guaranteed results. I love this. I love this slide. Sorry. The real question is it worth taking some time to check it out, which if it does even half of what I've claimed today on this webinar, pay for itself over again? Or would you just like to avoid the pain, embarrassment and financial loss of a failed webinar that you tried on your own? Right, other webinar services can have you doing nearly all the work yourself. With this, you get me. I'm enthusiastic, I'm passionate, and I'm motivating. Plus, I know a lot about building webinars. The tale of two business people. Here's the guy. He decided to do the webinar on his own and didn't quite pan out. And this business owner did do the webinar, and look, she made a lot of money. And truly, it's all about getting your business, getting you to the next level, and let me show you what to do next. Right? I've got a bonus number 3, and that is take what was once a live event and make it automated. Yes, I'm going to play your automated webinar every hour on the hour for the rest of the year. Do you think that would change your business? Really? All you have to do is get people to turn up to this webinar, and it's a sales process, it's a sales package, but give them good, valuable information so that they go away with something in their hand. Okay, so this is what you're applying for. The webinar, the technical setup, the redesign of the webinar, creation and build of the webinar and autoresponders, one-on-one rehearsal session, sales webinar in a PowerPoint template, automated webinar replays, total value $11,475. But if you haven't signed up yet, why not? Right? Are you worried about having to do a live webinar? You know, I've got about 8 different webinars that you can choose from. Maybe a celebrity webinar, or maybe an interview might be better for you. But, you know, at a pre-recorded webinar, there's no pressure. We can do a pre-recorded one, put it up there. It's not live. And then, do something in the back end. And I'll give you an example. One of my clients, what we're doing is a pre-recorded webinar to sell her product and service. But in her back end, we're actually doing a membership site where we're doing live webinars where we're teaching the people how to do her product and service in the live webinar, which we will record, and then that is going to be another product onto itself. So if you think you might give webinars a try first yourself, how hard can it be anyway? Or you can't see webinars would work for you because you don't have a suitable product. Well, that could be it. But you know what? I'm nothing special. I'm not good at shopping or holding a baby or drawing stick people, but I love helping business owners. More so, I love success, and I would love you to partner with me, and we'll both go down a path that can take your business to the next level. Now, this is bonus number 4, and this truly is an incredible gift to any business. It is a 8-chapter membership site that includes space for 8 videos plus downloads plus instructions. So if you've got a product or service that is about that you need a membership site for, it could be video tutorials on how to use your product or service. It could be a site that is self-help where they keep coming back. It just depends on what your business is, but it's certainly a very valuable thing to have is the back-end membership site that actually makes even more money, because it offers clients another dimension and yet another way of connecting with you. All right, here's the complete webinar package, and I'm not going to talk my way through it all again. You can see this is what you get, or you get all of this for total value $14,470, and truly there are webinar companies that are charging that right today, but you don't get all that you get here, and you end up doing a lot of the work yourself. So have a look around, see who else is running done for your webinar service, a no-tech service, which is what you'd ask for if you're going to shop around. But I would imagine that this deal is pretty good. I've not seen anything that comes even close to this, and you can get started right now for $995 plus 50-50 split of the net profit. And I would love to see your application, and we can talk about whether it's going to work for you or not. For me to view your application, you need to pay your $995. If it doesn't work for you, you will get that money back. There's with no question asked if we're not going to be a match. And as I said, I've got 9 places left. And if you're still seeing this video, there's still some places left. If you're not seeing this video, you're not hearing what I've got to say, and there's nothing left. So, hey, I'd love to work with you, and why don't you join now? I'll see you on the other side. Bye.